Hi everybody, it's Mark here, and I thought I'd come on today because, yes, I bought another tarot deck, but, what can I say? It is related to the last video, which I was praising this deck, which is available. It's been available since 2018, easily gotten on any seller websites for, a cheap price. But I saw a couple videos online, and there's only a few that featured the vintage version of this deck. And, there was no YouTube in 1990 when it originally came out. So people obviously have bought them, off eBay or somewhere, and probably spent a good penny on it. And I know I did, so this is the most I've ever paid for a tarot deck, but I hope this is now the end of my looking for the perfect deck. And there's no perfect deck. There are decks for different things, but I guess when I say perfect, I mean the perfect sort of everyday, use it the most, get the most out of it, intuitive deck. And I'm really loving the Gill because I am very much attached to the Kabbalah and theory, and it's really baked into the Gill Tarot. The other reason I went ahead and bought even though I did spend a lot, it was still probably half of what other people were asking for on eBay, and I managed to get it in this nifty deck and book case. So it came together, and originally the deck and book were sold separately. This came out in 1990, and this came out in 1996, and then in 96 they actually packaged them as well. So you can buy these separately on eBay or whatever, like just the book, and you can pair it with your modern one. I think there's maybe I saw one other set like this on there, but I think this is a rare find, and I was happy to get it. So I'm not going to go through all the cards or anything like that, although I was really pleased to see a comparison of the decks, which is what sort of made up my mind to get it. I can get the deck out. Here it is. Okay. So this is the vintage version, so there's the difference in the case, but the cards are exactly the same size, although not the same height. This is a thicker deck because it's on kind of, US Games sends it to China, and it's just that cardboardy kind of cardstock that we kind of know as modern cardstock. But the reason probably why this one is superior, I think, in look and feel is it was printed in Belgium, and it has the more flexible, thinner cardstock that I think holds up really well. And in fact, this deck is in perfect condition, and it came out in 1990, so that shows you something. But the reason I wanted to get it is in this comparison video that I saw, I just preferred the colors in this one. This is still a beautiful deck. It's more saturated than this one in color, and although that appeals to me, I like saturation because I like a powerful color. It also, though, blocks some of the delicate detailing, and this deck is softer, I would say lighter in energy and feel, and it feels like what the artist intended the card to look like at its best. It's kind of like when they put out the new Thoth Tarot last year with the new camera work on all the original paintings, and how we're seeing it really for the first time. So here's what I'm going to just show you. So here's the title card of the newer version, 2018, And here's the title card of the older vintage. Now, look at the difference in the blues. This is so much softer and more inviting. This is like a peacock blue almost, and this is kind of like a darker, more threatening kind of blue in my mind. And I don't know if it'll show up, but even the backs, this is the vintage, is a little lighter and brighter and sort of warmer and more welcoming, I think. So I'll just show you a few of the cards. This is the new Fool, you know, dynamic, great, beautiful color, but look at the soft, gentle color of the original. And again, the blue in the shirt is lightened up. Everything is softened. You can sort of see the detail on the side of the cliff. And even the cliff in the background seems to be a different color, whereas they seem the same here. Here's another example. Again, they just tend to be simple little differences. But this darker card, it just feels a little more threatening. And you may not realize that he's sitting on a feathered throne, but here you can see the delicate feathering on the throne. You know, the energy of the cards are the same. I really didn't like the Tower card in the modern version. It seems to have a film over it, like there doesn't seem to be any depth or dimension in the picture. And this one is just slightly better. The color on this guy particularly brings him forward. The Tower doesn't just fade into the background sky. It just seems to be a little bit better. Now here's a really subtle one. This is my birth decking card, the Four of Cups, so I always want it to look good. And that's, you know, nice, but then look here and look at the black of the cups. They're meant to seem empty, that this liquid cannot fill, cannot satisfy these cups. And here it feels like they're filled with the green stuff from, you know, the pool at the bottom of the card. So in that case, it kind of even throws off what you or how you might interpret the card, which that's not great. This I found to be a rather dull Five of Swords, not much going on, and not even clear where the four other swords are, but here you see them. They're kind of a purpley blue at the bottom, and they stand out as the artist would, I'm sure they meant them to stand out. Very dynamic Princess of Swords in the newer version, and you know, you can do a lot with that image. But here we can sort of lean into some of the background, the trees being bent back, and just a little lighter and a little softer without losing the energy of the card. That was my cat sticking her nose in. She may do it again. Now we're going to get to the ones I saved for the end. These are the ones that really sort of made a difference for me. So here we have a beautiful star card, a dark night. There's this ibis bird, there's this reflection in the pool. But here the pool is lightened up to a lighter blue. And yeah, maybe we lose a bit of the detail of the figure, but I think it's about being under the light. And we're seeing more detail of the bird itself against the sky. It's a gray bird, and it was just sort of going into the back of the dark sky there. Again, I just feel the energy of that light beaming down more here than here. And this, a gorgeous card, and I'm not even sure, this is the newer version, and I wasn't even sure that the vintage version improved on it, because I kind of like how dark and nighttime it is here. But once again, look at the bird. We've completely lost one of the wings in this card, and I'm sure it was meant to be seen. It was painted. So once you adjust to the delicacy of the moonlight in this card, and it feels like you're losing maybe some of the saturation here, it does start to feel like a better card, and the Q for the Queen stands out more. And this is really the biggest difference. So here is the Six of Swords in the newer version. I really didn't like the Blackened Swords. We all know it's a positive card, and there was just something, I know there's the sun there and it's burning away swords, and maybe swords are problematic, and that's nice, and a flower is coming. But look at the difference here. And again, I find this deck appealing because of the appropriate color scales to the Golden Dawn, and I'll have to look it up, but I feel like this might be closer to what is intended. And I like that you can see the details, more details in the sun, and that the sort of charring of the swords aren't quite as extreme. And so there's that. And this is just the end card, just to show you, like, so there's the Tree of Life card, and you can see just even here, this is sort of a bluer green, this is more of an evergreen. So honestly, every single card showed something different. Sometimes it was subtle, sometimes it was more obvious, but in all cases, I preferred the vintage version. But I will be carrying this one in my bag so that I can just knock it around in pubs and coffee shops, and it doesn't matter what happens to it, easily replaced. But if I did have to replace this deck at some point, I would just get another vintage and keep one pristine and put the other one in my bag, because I really do love this a lot. So there you have it, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.